When I stop him, y'all gonna say he was too weak.
On my life.
And he stayed at 147.
You would not stop
too long.
me. You would not stop me.
Okay.
You crazy. What's you smoking on? Breaking news of Errol Spence confirming the rumors of his fans claiming he had a rib injury leading up to the Crawford fight. Well, Errol Spence revealed he didn't just have an eye injury leading up to the Crawford fight, he also had a rib injury, where Errol Spence said, quote, "And week of the fight, I got cleared for a shot in my side." Errol Spence is referring to his rib injury. Then when Akhi gave his reaction to the shocking news by stating, "Cataracts, side, just say Terence Crawford was the better fighter." That's when Errol Spence responded with, "Better man won that night, but Akhi don't know anything about what he's talking about. How would they see it my whole career? When it formed 3 years ago, and I came to Vegas months before my fight, I will give 100,000 to anyone who's seen or heard me spar in Vegas. And with who and where?" Then a fan quickly dropped the name where he said, "Can I get that 100K as soon as possible, please? Question mark, because you spar Rondell in camp preparing to fight Crawford. Shake my head." Errol Spence responded to that with, "Ask him, did he come to Vegas or did I tell him we got someone else?" Laugh out loud. Then Errol Spence ended it with, "If I wouldn't have fought, y'all would say I was scared." Laugh out loud. Now, I think we all can agree to the last part because that's exactly what happened when Errol Spence pulled out of the Manny Pacquiao fight. Nevertheless, Errol Spence still pulled out of the Manny Pacquiao fight. So, if Errol Spence had an eye injury, a rib injury, and he was drained to the point where Errol Spence couldn't see correctly out of his eye, and he couldn't take a body shot well due to the rib injury, then like Terence Bud Crawford pointed out, how did Errol Spence pass the physical test? If both Crawford and Errol Spence had to take a physical test the week of the fight, how did Errol Spence manage to pass the physical test? If they missed the eye, how did they miss the rib? If they missed the rib, how did they miss the eye? And what is this shot Errol Spence is referring to he had to take on the side? A painkiller? Was the Nevada State Commission aware of it? Was it approved by the Nevada State Commission? Did the Nevada State Commission do this? Put it this way, Errol Spence opened up a storm of questions after making these excuses, especially when you factor in Errol Spence was forced to pull out of the Manny Pacquiao fight due to the eye injury. However, in this case, Errol Spence wasn't forced to pull out of the Crawford fight. How did he get past the physical and all of the above? If not for the eye, then the rib. And why will his team allow him to go through with this when this is the most important, difficult, and dangerous fight of his career by far? It ain't like Errol Spence didn't pull out of a fight before. He did it with Manny Pacquiao. So it's not the end of the world. Errol Spence could have had easily postponed the Crawford fight. You have to be a little off to take a fight with Crawford pound for pound #1 under these circumstances. Respectfully, I don't care who you are. You're not going to fight Crawford with an eye and a rib injury. So this doesn't take any credit away from Crawford due to the fact Crawford tried to fight Errol Spence when Errol Spence was at his best before the car accident and the eye injury, so on and so forth. Crawford tried to fight Errol Spence 5 years ago, but it was Errol Spence who told Crawford, "You're on the wrong side of the street," to delay the fight. So it doesn't matter when the fight happened because the timing was in Errol Spence's hands. Furthermore, it is surprising to see Errol Spence go from stating no excuses to making the most excuses out of the bunch in 2023 from all of the fighters that lost. But since Errol Spence did this, now he's putting a whole lot of pressure on himself to take the Crawford rematch and to perform differently. I know a lot of people don't want to see the rematch because of the brutal way Crawford dominated Errol Spence. But after the way Errol Spence came out with all of these excuses, he can no longer walk away from the Crawford rematch. Errol Spence has to stand on business now. And to the people that's going to say, "Oh, well, the rematch is not going to sell." Yeah, well, that was the story yesterday. The story today, Errol Spence was a dead man walking. Now he's 100% healthy, or at least healthier than before. That alone is going to sell the rematch. I think we still going to have the same outcome, but let Errol Spence tell it. He had an eye injury, a rib injury, and he was drained. So since that's the case, let's see what Errol Spence can do when he's at his best at 154, being healthy, so on and so forth, against Crawford. A lot of people believe the reason why Errol Spence did the surgery at the moment in time is because that was his way to walk out of the Crawford rematch. Well, I don't think that's the case. He can no longer do that. Not after coming out with a rib injury as well. This means Errol Spence wants to stand on business. This is Errol Spence's way of telling his fans there's hope. He can beat Crawford in a rematch. So make sure you guys buy the pay-per-view if you want to see redemption. Trust me, there is no possible way Errol Spence can walk away from the rematch now, because that's really going to destroy his reputation after making all of these excuses. Therefore, we shall see what ends up taking place. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below. And to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.